Hey. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the stream. How's everyone doing? And for some reason, my tool is not. Oh, I lost the chat. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, that was so dumb. Anyways, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Happy Saturday. Almost Happy New Year. I'm sitting down today. I should probably stand up. I feel kind of weird, but I'm going to sit down for a little bit just because I'm like, I don't know, super tired. Anyways, man, thank you guys so much for being here. There was some follows and there was some subs here in the beginning. I'll call them out here in a second, but thanks so much. Welcome to the stream. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining and for attending the stream on Saturday. It is New Year's Eve, so hopefully you guys have a safe New Year's. And hopefully you've had a good 2022, and here's to 2023. If you're returning, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. And welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. If you are new and you like to share something, absolutely share something. Throw it into chat. I just accidentally cleared the chat, so it's going to be kind of weird in the beginning, but anyways, we'll figure it out. But if you have something you want to share, something you're either struggling with or something you have a question on or just something you want to share, throw it in the chat. I usually ask what you guys are working on, which is appropriate. But also, I was curious, like if you could change one thing in your home lab or do something in 2023, what would it be? Let me know. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, home lab, just think tech upgrades. Basically, a home laboratory where you run kind of controlled tests or do all kinds of stuff in a controlled environment of your own. So anyways, if you have something you want to share, throw it in chat. I'd love to talk about it and love to see what you guys are excited about. I know I kind of have a rough guideline I haven't shared of some of the things that I'll be working on, but we'll see. I don't want to share, not that I don't want to commit, because I've already committed in my head to it, and I'm going to do it. I just need to make sure that I have all the pieces lined up. When I say pieces, I mean a little bit of hardware and software. I got to see if what I'm trying to do is accomplishable. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. I got some of the hardware here today, and some of it's piled up back there. Thank goodness for the bokeh, or you'd be able to see it. And I'm super excited about it. Like I couldn't be more excited about this, because this is something I've wanted to try for a long time. And I don't mean to be super secretive, but I also want it to be kind of a surprise too. So yeah, I got some stuff downstairs, and I've just had my blinders on. I've had 2 pieces of hardware for a couple of days, and then I got the rest of it yesterday, and then some more is arriving today. And I've just had to have tunnel vision and keep my blinders on so I could get what I was working on this morning out. So speaking of, I'll talk about it real quick. What I've been working on, I've been busy. I know you guys have all been busy. I've been super busy. I've been on vacation, but at the same time, I've been cranking out some stuff, as you probably saw this morning. So last week was my hardware tour, like everything about my home lab, hardware-wise, all the infrastructure, all the networking, like the physical location and all the physical devices. And I walked through that, and that was super fun, and that video is doing really well, so thank you for that. And then I released today's video, and it is smashing the previous one, blowing it out of the water. So thank you so much. I typically don't know how to gauge these things. I usually think people get more excited about hardware than they do software, so it's always hard to gauge these. But man, you guys are super excited about this one. Thank you so much. So yeah, anyways, I've been working on getting this services tour. I call it the services tour of everything that's running inside of my home lab and document it for the year. I do it every year. I think today is the it's the last day of the year. I know it's the last day of the year, but I think it's the absolute latest I could possibly do it in 2022. So when I say it's a late 2022 tour, I mean we're talking 12 hours away from 2023. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I got it out this year, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you have questions about it, throw it in chat. I know that I rambled. I talked about a lot of things, and I had a lot of things in my head, and sometimes it's hard to tell a story and get everything out that you want to tell and explain it in a way that people will understand. Super long video too. I threw it out on YouTube, poll out on YouTube, and I said, hey guys, I'm working on this video. The rough cut is 40 minutes. What do I do? Do I chop it up and make it smaller, or do I release the whole 40-minute video? And overwhelmingly, people said longer video. In my head, I was thinking, okay, I know what long video means on YouTube. It means the algorithm is going to tank me. But anyways, I did it the way you guys asked for it, and it's doing pretty well. So anyways, all that aside, that's what I've been working on. I will say that I am so glad it's done. I am so glad it's done. A lot of work. This video took the most work out of any of my videos, even like my server rack build, all of that stuff, just because there was so much editing involved. I got to find a better way to edit, because like I said, I was up until like 4 this morning, because it's rendering for almost 3 hours, and thumbnails and all that stuff. Anyways, all that aside, today is a good day, and we're ringing in the new year. Anyway, so let's real quick, let's see what's going on in chat, and then, well, actually, let's look at the events that happened. This is weird when I sit down. I'm not used to just sitting down. Where are my things? For some reason, where are my events at? Give me 1 second. What is even going on? My events list are gone. Hey, there's an event right there. Hey, thank you so much for the bits. I think that was, see, I can't even see my events. Give me 1 second. It's like my events app is just totally gone. I can pull up something else. So give me a second while I pull that up. Hey, thank you so much. There was bits right there. Oh, Tally, thank you so much for the bits. While I do that, let me get into the back room of Twitch. Let me get into my creator dashboard. I rarely use this because I use something else. So I'm gonna wing it today, and we're gonna use the creator dashboard because why not? Because it's there. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so let's first call out some of the events that happened. This one doesn't show follows. This is killing me. Here we go. Sorry, I'm I'm a little bit off today. I think it's because I seriously got 4 hours of sleep, and I'm okay with about 5, 6. Usually, it's pretty good. When I get 4, I'm just like, what is even going on? Anyways, so let's go right here. This is all of the events, so I'll just call some out that just happened kind of recently before the stream. Coding Cashew, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. Alanip, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. Tally, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. Yakto, how's it going? Resub, Prime, 5 months, thank you so much, appreciate it, Yakto. How's it going, man? How's YWS up there in the Pacific Northwest? Nura Victus, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Mr. Monsoon, how's it going? Has resub, tier 1, 8 months. Let's go, Tim. How's it going, Mr. Monsoon? Tally, thanks for the 100 bits. And I'm going with Urban Monkey. Thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. You know what, guys? I'm gonna stand up. This is too weird sitting down. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna mute the mic so I can stand up. Check. There we go. Hey, that's a little bit better. Camera angle still off. It's funny because I had this all adjusted because I recorded lots of stuff this week. So anyways, a little bit better. I feel better standing up. So anyways, how's it going? Let's talk. We were just going through events. Thank you for all of that. And let's talk. Let's chat. If you got something you want to share, throw it into chat. My chat's a little bit messed up today, so I'm gonna try to pick up where this left off. All right, I see that one. Okay, I'll just keep that in mind. So let's see who was here first. I know who was here first because I saw it this right before I started the stream. ZVSD, you won. Yes, you did win. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Yakto says howdy. Red Stroke says evening. Pizza Geek, let's go. Mark, Mark says, and I'll put the text up on the screen here in a little bit, but Mark says, oh my gosh, I wasn't here for so long. Glad to see you. Would love to see what's up with you. Happy New Year from Japan. Hey, thank you so much from Nihon or Nippon. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Flick is bad. Hey, new video is amazing and inspired me to jump head first into Kubernetes in 2023. Hey, thank you for that. Flick is bad. Hey, I think 2023 is a good year to to learn Kubernetes. I think 2022 was, even 2019 I think was, but you know, the second best time to learn Kubernetes is now. I really think that is. And I know I've been beating it over you guys' head. I try not to do too much of it. But it's just everywhere, and it's hard not to. And sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, I can't like beat Kubernetes over everyone's head, because then they won't like me. But I think it's a valuable skill to learn, even if you don't want to build your own cluster and do all of that, because that's a lot to do at home. I mean, trust me, it's still good to know what it's about and what it is, so that when it makes its way into your organization, which it probably will if it hasn't already, you'll understand kind of what's going on, because it touches a lot of stuff. So anyways, let's see. I'm going to scroll through here until I get to the other chat, and then I can show it on screen. Andrew Lord, hey, how's it going? Never fear, Boris is here. Hi, Blurry Tim. Just wanted to say Happy New Year. I can't say long. It's my wife's birthday. Happy birthday to your wife, Boris. So Happy New Year, and may all your dreams come true in 2023. I hope they do. That's very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you. PC Geek, now you need a new B-roll intro video showing the new rack off. Funny you say that, because last stream I thought the same thing. We're on the same wavelength. I think you called me out on it last time when you're like, that's like a retro video you have going in the background. But absolutely, I do need to edit the B-roll in the beginning to now include my new rack. I'm going to sprinkle in the new. I'm going to keep some of the old. I'm just going to keep making that loop a little bit better. But I thought the same thing last week when I showed it off. I was like, totally. Just Jay Sizzle. Hey, howdy folks, how's it going? Let's see. Towley, love the videos. Hey, Mark Omara Dev is resub tier 1 3 months. New Year starts great. Thumbs up. I agree. New Year starts great. Let's start a new year off on a good foot. Tally says, hey, love the videos. Always have a similar feeling to them, like nerding out with a friend. Finally joined the Discord and first live stream. Hey, thank you. A lot of first times. I totally agree. I get to nerd out. This is another nerd session for me. I get to nerd out a few times a week. One is every Saturday here. Two is if I create a new video and then I get to nerd out, especially afterwards, because then I get to nerd out with people in comments and on here. And then Discord all the time. Like I get to read, I get to hear, and I get to see what people are doing, whether it's in voice or video or just chat all day long. I totally agree. And I say this a lot. I don't say it enough, but I got super lucky with everyone in the Discord. Everyone is well behaved, except for a few. No, I'm kidding. Everyone's well behaved. Everyone's super smart. Everyone's, adulting most of the time. But it's a great place to learn and talk tech and get ideas about things. So I appreciate everyone in the Discord, mods too. Thank you so much. Let's see. Love George, level George. Does anyone use pfSense and Proxmox? I think there are quite a few. I don't anymore. I might be soon. I think I might virtualize Proxmox once again. Oh, I know it's gonna happen. Last time this happened, I know what's up. Remember how my camera overheated last time? Give me 1 second. Well, all right, let me turn up the fan, because last time that started happening, that camera overheated, and it actually overheated when I was recording a video. I don't know why I know why it's overheating, because this monitor, this 4K monitor that it's above is just radiating heat right up into the camera. So never had that problem, and I was like, why is it overheating? I'm like, oh yeah, it's like right above this 4K monitor that's blazing hot. Anyways, back to pfSense and virtualizing in Proxmox. I don't need more. I might again soon, because I want to do something internal with a firewall and then to stay abreast on Proxmox stuff. But there are plenty of people. I know there are people that are, and people go back and forth and whether you should or shouldn't. and some of the pros and cons. So ask your question, ask away. I've done it before, and maybe I'll know the answer. Let's see. Crack Kitty. Hey, how's it going? Yo, Tim. Happy New Year. Thanks for a great year. Thank you, man. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. PC Geek. I run it bare metal. I've ran it in Proxmox before, though use it as a test land for VMs. Yeah, for sure. Exactly. And that's what I might be doing here soon, too. And then Jay Sizzle says, yeah, I've done it for a couple of years. A lot of people saying Happy New Year. Yakto says, I'm working on adding native Kubernetes support to my OpenStack environment. Awesome. Another thing I'd love to learn is OpenStack for sure. I think that's on my short list for 2023. It seems to be everywhere. So I'd love to learn that too. Let's see. Bonjour from Quebec, says Joey Lockey. Quebec, I think they say Quebec in Canada. And so, in the United States, I hear a lot of people say Quebec, but when I went to Canada, and I lived there in Toronto for 6 months for a work assignment, people said Quebec, and it kind of opened my eyes. So, anyways, Joey, bonjour from Quebec. Let's see, Towley, was happy to see IAC in your video today. So, infrastructure is cool. I just finished my hybrid cloud deployment for work, ironically finding it more challenging to get my HomeLab fully IAC. I totally agree. Because my IAC, or my infrastructure as code, picks up at Kubernetes. I want to backfill that. I want to backfill that all the way back to bare metal. Who knows? I would love to learn some more about that. So hopefully I can help with that soon, because I'm the same way. Like everything from Kubernetes on, I have, 100, I would say 100% automated. Like I don't have auto scaling turned on and stuff like that. That's super advanced stuff. But everything from Kubernetes on for me is automated. I'm going to try to backfill that here soon and say, can I go from nothing or VMs or bare metal all the way up to Kubernetes? So I want to go 0 to Kubernetes. We'll see. It's definitely on the list, but I know I know exactly what you mean. I'm right there with you. Let's see. Mark, not a HomeLab, but making open source tool to sync external contributions to GitHub account. Awesome. That's pretty awesome. I know exactly what you're talking about. So someone's committing to some other Git repo somewhere, and you want to pull in those changes into GitHub. Sounds awesome. There might even be actions out there for that you could get ideas from. Crank Kitty, as for what I'm working on, Lickety and iLood and I have tried to solve my 10 gig networking issues for about 4 hours today and got nowhere. Dang it. What's the issue? Something broke when I moved to the new house. Super sad face. Yeah, much sad. Yeah, what it is. I mean, I have problems every now and then with my 10 gig NIC here or my switch. It usually boils down to a couple things. Either they both have to be in auto, or one has to be, or a hard code them both to 10 gig. And between those two, it seems to work it out. But I'm sure you guys tried that. I mean, you guys got Lickety and iLood in there helping you. I mean, you got some big shoes in there helping you out. So I'm sure you guys tried that. Hey, Modest Tim resub tier 1 5 months 5 months strength. Happy end of 2022. Yeah, I agree. Happy end of the year. Soon, Happy New Year tomorrow. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. How you doing, Modest Tim? Good to see you. Okay, redo strike. I'm almost back to where I can show the text on the screen. Redo strike. Moving. Let me see. Yeah. Moving my 2 Synology, 1 storage, 1 production to 1 new servers in a whole new rack after I've redone my house networking cables. Awesome. Interesting. I'm curious why you're going from Synology to 1 new servers. I'm imagining it's because you want to do Proxmox, or you want to do a hypervisor, or you want to do something bare metal instead of having the Synology layer in between. I'm guessing, but I'm thinking that's what it is. Or you want some more flexibility or some more power, one or the other. But let me know. Interesting move. I'm curious to know. Lovell George, I want to run bare metal too, but I don't have the hardware. I hear you. It's tough. Bare metal's tough if you don't have the hardware. There are cheap nodes you can get, but again, that takes more hardware. It takes more RAM, more hard drives, and stuff like that. Hopefully in the future, I'll do some stuff that can be done bare metal or can be done through virtualization, so that either way, you can probably still follow along and learn about the stuff I want to do. Because I too want to try some stuff out bare metal, but I'm understanding that people don't have additional hardware laying around, like I don't right now. I personally don't have hardware laying around. I try not to leave hardware lying around because then it just turns into a graveyard, and I don't have a lot of space for a graveyard. And plus, I like to, I don't know, I like to give my hardware away to people who, could use it and have some fun with it. So anyways, yeah, I hear you. Hopefully I'll have some solutions soon that can be done either through virtualization as if it's bare metal, and then bare metal too. We'll see. Oh man, all this talk about bare metal, I'm loving it. Let's see. J Sizzle, Wi-Fi router goes into bridge mode for sure. I think that's just a comment. Maybe a comment. Let's see. Am I to the comments? No, I gotta wait till I see PC Geek because that's when I reset it. Lesser Train. I added 2 new drives to my Dell PowerEdge to have a total of 2.4 terabytes of storage. However, my Proxmox instance still only shows 1.2 terabytes. Any idea how to expand that so it includes the 2.4 gigabytes? Yeah, so, hey, Zempron, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. So let's see. I added 2 new drives to my PowerEdge. I have a total of 2.5 terabyte storage. However, the Proxmox instance only shows 1.2 terabytes. I'm gonna assume you mean for your LVM or for just an LVM, maybe where Proxmox is installed, maybe not. It really just depends. I mean, in what I've had to do in the past, there's 2 options. Sometimes you can get away with expanding your LVM to use the additional free space within the OS. Sometimes you could do that. And I think I have a few commands that sometimes work. But there are other times when I can't, and I have to use something like gparted and boot from it and extend the actual partition. And then once the partition is extended, then I have to extend LVM in the OS. So it really depends. And then if you're talking about ZFS, that's a whole nother ball game. And Proxmox has documentation on that. I haven't actually done that yet. I've never expanded ZFS yet. And I know that it can be done as long as you replace every drive in the VDEV, and then you can expand. Never done it. But yeah, let me know. Is which volume are you talking about? Let's see. Unify 6 Lite. Am disappointed at the speed. Uncle Tag. Yeah, I have a 6 Lite. But I have multiple access points, and it's hard for me to know. I mean, I can know with looking which one I'm connected to, but I haven't noticed. I guess I rarely do like huge transfer tests. I usually when I'm connected to an access point, it's like, can I download stuff fast enough? Yes, I can. But interesting. I'll have to try. I have a 6 Lite and I have a 6. I don't know. It's Pro. I think it's Pro. I have those too. So I don't know. I saw too that the lights don't have Bluetooth, which isn't a big deal, but it kind of is for me because, it's super nice to be able to add new Unify devices through Bluetooth, and I don't think the light has Bluetooth. I could be wrong. Not that it even matters because I have one with Bluetooth, but I wish they were both the same. I don't want to say I compromised, but I did compromise because they were sold out for so long, and so I ended up getting a 6 Lite for pretty cheap. But now they have 6 Pros and stuff like that, and I ended up buying one of those too. Anyways, long story short, I haven't noticed. Let me know what speed you're getting. I mean, have you tested with Wi-Fi Man? Have you isolated that device, use Wi-Fi Man, test it against your UDM possibly that you have, or test from point to point. Well, not point to point, but from your access point to another device using Wi-Fi Man, because that's pretty awesome. Now we're back into seeing chat because I accidentally cleared it out. PC Geek, awesome video today. Thank you so much. Level George, Happy New Year. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Crack Kitty, shoot, I missed the video trying to fix my 10 gig LOL. It's all good. Xavier's D has a headache from Proxmox reinstall. Hey man, I thought you had this automated by now. Maybe not. Yeah, it's I hear you. I just did a reinstall on my Storinator. I'm gonna do another reinstall here in a little bit because I had to wait for some additional parts for some additional drives. So I'm gonna be right there with you. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Joy Locky, I just bought a Lenovo 5 ThinkCenter M73 tiny desktop Intel G3250T to play around with. Got them for $50 each. Up until now, I was using a few Pis, but starting to run slow and not work like I want. Yeah, so one, it sounds like a good deal. That's cheaper than a Raspberry Pi right now, and it's probably 10x the compute that you get. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Raspberry Pis. I think I have 4 or 5. Actually, I have more than that. If I count my computes, my CM4 nodes, I probably have 9. They're all being used. Don't worry. It's not like I'm hoarding them. But you know, that's the one complaint sometimes. It's like once you start to do stuff for real, then it's like, okay, well, a Pi isn't the best thing for this. Pis are fantastic to learn and great for very specific like use cases. Like one, learning. Yeah, absolutely. Tiny Linux server. Yeah, absolutely. Little web server. Yeah, absolutely. But as soon as you go into, something that needs a little more compute than that, it gets tough. It gets tough. Or needs to read and write a lot to disk, which, I mean, you can solve with SSDs or connecting a hard drive. But it gets tough. But anyways, $50 for that tiny desktop. That is awesome. Did you buy one? Did you buy 2? Oh, no, 5. You said 5. Wow, you are ready to cluster. You are ready to cluster. Five devices. I like it. And I was frozen for a minute. But anyways, 5 devices. That is awesome. So that means what? 3 Kubernetes API nodes and then 2 worker nodes. I like it. Red Strike, I'm moving to my 2 Synology store. I read that. Maybe I did, but I thought so. Yeah, I redone my network cables. Well, yeah. Hopefully everything's going okay. PC Geek, man, I'm getting a lot of stutters. I apologize. What's PC Geek doing? Move my VM storage to SSDs instead of spinning drives. Yeah, absolutely. Man, I thought you were all SSDs. But yeah, I mean, you'll see your IOPS will go up and your lag will go way down. It's super nice once you get into solid states, but then also your wear out will go way up. So it's things you have to think about when you have an SSD. Obviously, you're either going to over provision them or make sure you're keeping 20 to 30% left on an SSD, so you're not wearing out the same space over and over and over. But you got this, man. You got this. Obsidian. Got some Optane drives coming, so planning on benchmark versus classic SSD. Yeah, I would love to know the results of this, because a lot of people in my videos, they'll say, why don't you use enterprise drives? Why don't you use enterprise drives? Like, I get that a lot. Every time I'm like, yeah, I run Samsung consumer grade hard drives in all of my servers, people, always come back with like, oh, you should be doing, you should be using enterprise drives because of wear out. And the way I look at it, maybe I'm justifying, is like I'd rather put that money into a spare consumer drive or 2 than buying enterprise drives that may or may not last longer. At the end of the day, I have to make sure that my array has enough drives to be fault tolerant, and I do. Even with consumer drives, I can handle a loss of 2 drives in all of my pools. More in my ZFS, in my big pool, I can handle 3. But the way I look at it is like, hey, drives, I just plan that drives are going to fail. Drives are going to fail no matter which one I buy. Even if I buy the best one in the world, it's going to fail. So I look at them like, yeah, they're going to fail. I'm going to replace them. If they're under warranty, I'm going to call them out and get one replaced under warranty. Just got one replaced under warranty. Samsung, which was very, very, I don't know. Samsung needs to do a little bit work on their semiconductor and solid state division, because it was a very bad experience with support. And it was my first time ever contacting Samsung support to get a drive replaced, and like their website's down, and like, yeah, I won't even go into it. Anyways, but I just had a drive totally fail, 100% fail, like won't even be recognized. And they sent me a new one. So and then I finally bought a spare. I didn't have a spare before that. Anyways, long story short, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy enterprise drives. Absolutely do it if you feel like that should work for you. But a lot of people ask me that all the time, like why I don't. And that's why I don't, because I now keep a spare on hand and I save that money for a spare and then save the rest of the money for other things. But if you can get one cheap, yeah, absolutely go for it. And I just feel like, man, that's going to die too at some point. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, at some point it will. But I will say my wear out is kind of high, and I worry about that. But at the same time, I just keep telling myself, just don't even look at wear out. When it dies, do a warranty claim, and hopefully they honor it. I don't know if they check wear out. I assume they do because they guarantee a certain amount of rights in its lifetime. But when it's 100% dead, where it doesn't even get recognized, I don't know how they could check that. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. Let me know. Captain Vibes. First time here on New Year's Day from Tasmania, Australia. Yeah, it is. So Happy New Year if you're in Australia, or if you're in Asia, and even to very, very far east. So hey, Happy New Year. Glad you're here. I've been doing some more graphonographs for my home lab over this holiday break. Awesome. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Let me know which ones you're using. I'm using a lot that come from Node Exporter that come kind of for free with Grafana. I haven't built my own customized one yet. I either go out and look for them and get templates, or I just use the ones that come out of the box. So let me know. Yeah, it's super fun. If you find one you would like to share, can't share here, but share it in Discord somewhere because I'd love to see it. Zempron and Jono. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. ZBSD, I'm starting it 2 days ago, buying an Asus GPU server, an A5000, and joining the AI Learning Stable Diffusion project. Awesome, man. I think you asked about adding that AI Stable Diffusion project bot to Discord. I have to look into it. But awesome, man. Yeah, you are going all out, man. I remember, what, 6 months ago, maybe not even 6, maybe 5, you were just getting your first Dell server. So maybe it was longer than that. I don't know. It seems to be going real fast. But man, you are really ramping up. Studio, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Jay Sizzle, I want to build a proper NAS in 2023, currently using an Intel Gen 4 HP desktop as a home lab. Hey, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I have, well, it's not a Gen 4 or 5, but it is a Gen 7. I think it's 7th gen. I think so. I have a pretty old Intel CPU that's here. It's either, no, it's 8. So not as old as that, but for a server, something that's working in the background, totally fine, especially for NAS. I mean, I think you can build a proper NAS with an Intel Gen 4 HP desktop. I think you can. If you do ZFS and you if you use, install TrueNAS, you get some drives, you do a JBOD of some drives, and you have some RAM, and you use that RAM for ZFS, I think that's a proper NAS. I think it is because, ZFS will do its scrubbing and its checks, and it's totally fine. It'll protect against bit rot while it scrubs, and it'll verify all of the bits, and I think it's fine. So I think what you have is totally fine. Throw 4, 5, 6 drives in there, if that, even 2, if you just want a mirror. I think that's a proper NAS. So I don't want you to think like, hey, I got to go and buy like a ton of enterprise stuff. Like, I think people can get by with a lot more than they think. Like, machines are highly capable. Even machines from 6-7 years ago are highly capable. I mean, that's why people are still buying them. They have a lot of life left. So I would say, reuse if you can, for sure. But I think it's more than capable. I mean, what? Even if you had 16 gigs of RAM, 4 hard drives, 2 hard drives. Let's say 2 hard drives for mirroring, 16 gigs of RAM, sure. A gigabit NIC, sure. And, a decent CPU like you have, even if it is an Intel Gen 4, I think it would be fine. I think it would be fine for something like TrueNAS with NAS, for sure. For home, I think it would be fine. Let's see. But Jay says, yeah, sounds awesome. I know how that feels to be chomping at the bit to get new stuff, but I also want you to know that, like, hey, I think that would be fine for NAS, for sure. Urban Monkey. Remember though, First, you start with the old PC to play with, then you add another, and then the next thing you know, you have 3 racks and a small VMware cluster. I hear you. I hear you. That is so true. That is so true, and that's what happened to me. I think that's what happened to a lot of people. I think I always say, like, hey, it all starts out with either a Raspberry Pi or a Plex Media Collection. Like, those are the 2 gateways into home labbing and data hoarding. Like, those 2 things will get you every time, because you're like, yep, got a Raspberry Pi. Maybe I'll do 2 Raspberry Pis. I'll do 3 in a cluster. And then you start doing that and you start adding workloads and you're like, wow, it's not powerful enough. I already have a cluster of 3, so let's just buy 3 servers. And then you go all out. And the same goes with Plex too. It's like, yep, running Plex on my old PC works great. I have a USB drive that's 1 terabyte. And then before you know it, you have a cluster and a disk shelf and who knows what's going on. Been there for sure. Kadu Muller, better logging for my traffic. Haha, I hear you. I hear you. I have okay logging for my traffic instance. It's definitely logging to standard out, and then I collect that with Loki. But yeah, I could be better about mine too. I think we all could. PC Geek, stay tuned to the channel, and you will have the aspirations for running your own enterprise servers in your house before you know it. I agree. And I do a lot of, I heard that's a Midwest thing. What is going on? My, okay. Oh, encoder overloaded. Okay. I see what's going on. For some reason, my 39er says the encoder's overloaded. I did see that huge lag. I don't know why my 3090 would be overloaded. I kind of have an idea, and I'm like, man, why did I go to OBS 28? Because 27 was fantastic. Anyways, 28 looks good, but man, I feel like it can't keep up compared to what it was doing just 3 months ago on 27. Anyways, long story short, I know I do a ton of enterprise stuff. And I have a mixture of home stuff too. I'm gonna bring back a little bit more home stuff that's a little more accessible for people here coming soon. So that's some of the stuff that's downstairs. LOL. I totally agree. Yocto, for 2023, my goal is to be able to use my public OpenStack environment to provide free virtual home labs to those who aren't able to run their own local home labs, or to those who want to experiment with cloud/hybrid cloud. Hey, that is awesome. You finally answered what the heck you're doing with all that hardware up in YWS, Yocto Web Services up in the Pacific Northwest. Hey, that is awesome. I would love to see that. I would love to be a beta tester at some point, just to see, like, give me, make me a tenant of your OpenStack at some point. You don't need to rush, but I would love to see it. And because I've never done OpenStack, it would be great to kind of learn and just make me a tenant and give me just the crustiest old VM possible. Nothing special. And I would love to see it. I assume that's how you're going to do it. You'd probably make an account for someone and make them a tenant of some kind of small org or something and give them some resources. That sounds pretty awesome. I would love to know too, like some of the protections you're going to put in place too, because people will get kind of wild if they can. People, as we know, people will try to push the limits of stuff. For science, and sometimes not for science. I agree. That is awesome. I totally agree. Redo Strike. Love both of them. Great tours. Thank you so much. Xavier, can I borrow one of your A6000s? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, is it going to be GPU enabled? Yeah. What kind of VMs are we getting now? Now we have to qualify what we will settle for on free VMs. We won't pay $5 for a VM, but we will tell you exactly what we want on a free one. Nura Victus. Hey, Tim, speaking of services, is it better to have Proxmox host my ZFS or have TrueNAS host the ZFS? This is different than a network share, but going to that, is it better to have TrueNAS as a network share or Samba for security? Let's see. Proxmox to host my ZFS or TrueNAS? It depends. It depends. That's probably the worst answer ever, but it really does depend. I'll talk about some of my choices and why I choose to do it. I get it that Proxmox supports ZFS, and I could spin up an LXC container and then create a Samba share on Proxmox and go hyper-converged and spin up an LXC or even a virtual machine that then connects to ZFS and share that data out that way. Totally fine, totally can do it. 100% is a valid use case for Proxmox because, they want to be hyper-converged. They're saying run your virtualization here, run your containers here, run your storage here, run your hypervisor here, run everything here. And but for me, I like one. I enjoy TrueNAS. It's great. TrueNAS has a ton of flexibility. If you saw from my tour today, I use a lot of their storage services. I call them anything from iSCSI to object storage to NFS to Samba, all that. And it gives it to me in a nice UI. Maybe you don't need a UI, but for me, like configuring Samba, I've done it before. All config files. I've done it for Samba. I've done it for NFS. Not fun. And then on top of that, permissions are not fun, and ports are not fun. Like all that stuff is not fun to do in config files. Maybe you're comfortable doing that, and maybe that's the way to go. So, anyways, me personally, I don't like sending traffic to my hypervisor, other than traffic that needs to go there. And so for me, it's kind of like, okay, well, I get it. You could spin up an LXC container, give it an IP address, and then attach to a ZFS volume or a data set on your hypervisor. But for me, I kind of like separating that concern. And it's kind of weird because they're going for hyper-converged, but I'm saying I'm not going to let you be hyper-converged. And that's just me. I don't think that one is more secure than the other. I think it's just how do you want to manage your infrastructure. In my head, I think of Proxmox as almost an appliance, right? It's an appliance. I get updates from Proxmox and Debian, and I treat it like an appliance, and I try hard not to go into configs, and I try hard to do a lot of things that I don't normally have access to in other hypervisors, say like VMware. VMware, 100% appliance. You get updates to them. You can't muck around too much with config. You could, obviously, but for the most part, an appliance. Think of your firewall, those kinds of things. And so I think of Proxmox as more an appliance. And maybe that's old school, and I shouldn't be doing that, and I should embrace hyperconverged, and I should put it all in there. But for me, I kind of like. I'm a huge fan of TrueNAS. Like I like it. I'd be kind of sad if I didn't have in my environment, because it's really changed the way I do a lot of things. Anyways, I don't know what's more secure. I don't think either way is inherently less secure, because security is how you configure it. If you don't touch either thing and you never configure it, it's pretty secure. But if you go and configure it wrong, on one system versus the other, that's a user error. That's you configured it wrong, and it's less secure now. So anyways, at the end of the day, they're using Samba protocols. At the end of the day, it's using the Samba service. And at the end of the day, it's how you configure it. So I don't think either is inherently less secure. It's going to be up to you and how you secure it. The most secure thing is just turn it off and don't turn on Samba. But you want Samba shares for your Linux and Windows machines, right? To get to shares. So it's all about how you configure it. I probably beat the horse dead on that and then beat it some again. I never understand that saying anyways. Rona Bop, dumb Q, never. Tim, or somebody who knows. I have a Proxmox VM trying to log in. I have a Proxmox VMs trying to log into accounts that require FIDO or YubiKeys. So how do I pass through a local USB YubiKeys to remote Proxmox console sessions? This is a great question. So how do you do it over remote session? Very carefully. Well, that's a tough one. So you have to use something that does like USB over IP, right? Where you can map a USB drive over the IP protocol back to your device. I think RDP supports this. So if you're doing it over Windows, I think Windows can do this. I think if you go into RDP and you select, you can say USB devices, you can say drives. Don't quote me on this. I've never done it before, but I have done USB over IP before. I've done it with VMware. VMware has a great Horizon client that does this, right? Where you can say USB redirection, redirect from the host back to the remote client, right? And so that would allow me to plug in my headset and have very terrible link conferences back in the day. Very terrible link conferences. But, you know, they were kind of ahead of their time. Hey, Cyber Knight. Dude, thank you. Whoa, Cyber Knight, thank you so much. Gifted 5 Tier 1 subs. Thank you so much, Cyber Knight. How's it going? Mr. Heartstopper, Nobi, Ryu, Fireball XC, Geek Random, Calgar. Enjoy your gifted sub from Cyber Knight. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. But yeah, so going back to that, so you're going to have to, it's a two-way street. The OS that you're using has to be able to support it. Then on that OS, you're going to have some kind of agent that can also do it. And then on the remote side, or on your side where you're at, you're going to have to use a client that can actually do that too. I don't know if Spice. So Spice is a client. It's an open source client that does audio redirect and stuff like that, and video too, for QEMU or for KVM. You might want to try the Spice client. Haven't tried it, but I know the Spice client gives you, audio and video and stuff like that. So I'm just throwing out ideas. If you're using VMware Horizon client, I think it's still called, maybe not. Has it built in? I don't know if that's an enterprise feature. You got to pay more, probably because it's Horizon. And then Windows, maybe it does it through RDP. I haven't looked, but you might want to check. It may now. It's been a while. But back when I had to do that, stuff, it was, we had to use Horizon because I worked at a larger enterprise that had VMware infrastructure, and that's how I passed through USB devices. And then this is all prefaced with, like, you could actually do that during sign-in. Anyway, hopefully I give you some avenues to go down to look, and hopefully I don't send you down some dead ends, but that's where I'd look. First, are you running Windows or Linux? If you're running Windows, does RDP support it? If not, does Spice support it? If not, well, if it's Proxmox too on top of that. And if nothing else, yeah, I don't know. That's tough. You might have to disable the YubiKey authentication over remote, which sounds like exactly why you don't want to. It sounds like the exact reason why you have a YubiKey to begin with, or any hardware authentication key. So. Anyways, yeah, good stuff to think about. Not a dumb question at all. That gave me stuff to think about in the background. Next time I'm out Googling stuff or looking at stuff, I can, keep that in the back of my head and noodle on it too. So thank you. Jay says, hey, thanks. Loving the content. Love longer content. Sorry, I can't read right now. Hey, thanks. Thanks. I like I said earlier, I was scared that the algorithm wouldn't like it, but I think I kind of know my audience, and everyone in my poll said, give us longer stuff because we love to nerd out. And I said, okay, I see your longer content and I give you 40 minutes. But anyways, it was jam-packed. Honestly, that could have been 2 hours long. And I was like, there's no way. I don't know if you could tell, but towards the end, I was like, okay, 4 sentences max dedicated to each topic because I'm talking too much. But anyways, thanks. I appreciate it. I try to make it as long as it needs to be. And I try not to add additional fluff unless it's to help tell the story or just for fun. I don't add time just for, I don't know, ads or whatever. I don't do any of that garbage because I don't want to watch that myself. So anyways, thank you. Appreciate it. Sam, is it possible to run a HomeLab, mainly for Nextcloud, Torrent, and maybe Jello? I don't know what Jello is, but anyways, with 2 gigs of RAM on a laptop. I'm just discovered your channel and would like to create my own server next year. Yes. I'm just going to say yes, absolutely. If you're doing Linux and you have 2 gigs of RAM, sure, try it. Why not? I mean, what's the worst that can go wrong? I mean, it's going to page to disk. Okay, well, if it's going to page to disk because you don't have enough RAM, throw an SSD in there. And then, it'll page from something that's kind of fast. I mean, buy a cheap SSD. I mean, if you only have a laptop with 2 gigs RAM, it's probably pretty old. So just, and you don't have an SSD in there, probably not. If you do, great. If you don't, buy a cheap one. I mean, the cheapest one you can possibly find anywhere and throw it in there, and you'd be pleasantly surprised on how much life you can get out of it. But is it enough? Sure. Is it gonna be as fast as you want it to be? Maybe not. Are you gonna be able to throw 100 users in a Nextcloud instance and use it? No, probably not. It's gonna be kind of slow, but you'll learn. You'll figure out what resources you do need by not having enough. So I wouldn't make, that a non-starter, to try and learn what you want to do. I would say, hey, let's make it work. Like, what do you need to do to make it work? And some of the things I just talked about, like, hey, run Linux, run it headless, super lightweight Linux, find a lightweight Linux, get it working. Maybe not do Docker right away because that takes some additional RAM. Maybe just do a thick install. Hate to say thick install, but I'm thinking of like virtualization or app-v. But, install it as a binary. Don't run Docker. Slim it down. See if you can run it with 2 gigs of RAM. If you don't, put an SSD in there. I would try to squeeze everything out of it you can, rather than say like, nah, can't do it. Not enough resources, because you'll learn a lot in the process. So, Jay says, "Oh, I hate the algorithm for that." Yeah, it's tough. Like, I want to say I understand the algorithm, and I kind of do. Yeah, so real quick, high level, like how I think it works, and I think this is kind of how it works. YouTube basically says, here's this channel and here's its audience. Like, everyone who is in your channel, it's kind of hard to explain, but you're basically targeting the same people almost every time. And YouTube usually thinks your content falls in a certain spot. And if you keep putting content in that certain spot, your regular users will be happy. And if they're happy, which means, they watch the video, they click the video, they watch it for a long time, they thumbs up, they comment, that's happiness on YouTube to the algorithm. They'll then start to share that with other people who may not be subscribed, but like similar things. And so they'll do this concentric circles going out. So what I learned the hard way is like, you always gotta keep your core audience happy. You always got to give them something they want to see. Every now and then you can try something different. But when you start to go outside of that circle of the things that are different, that's when things can go really, really bad. Really bad. And I've learned that through some videos, but sometimes you have to try things to figure that out. So anyways, I don't have it totally figured out. I think I have a good pulse on what I would like to see, what I'm working on, and what some people would like to see. But every now and then you just got to try something different. But it is tough. It is tough. Piece of cake, Spice, yeah, man, we're on the same wavelength. That's what I was talking about earlier. The Vert Viewer client, yeah, absolutely. Spice is going to give you it's going to give you a lot more. It's going to give you audio. It's going to give you a lot of stuff, and hopefully pass through USB, because I would love to see that. If not, Sci-Fi, you mentioned that Photon was a Twitch stream server. Do you mean it's a system that encodes your stream for Twitch? Is it running OBS or some other software? Yes, absolutely, yeah. It is. It's a Twitch stream server. It is running OBS, and it does encode a stream that runs all the time. So yeah, absolutely. Now, you got it. You nailed it. This goes all the way back. If you ever saw one of my first Proxmox videos, I was trying to figure out how to pass through a GPU. It's exactly for this. I mean, this is kind of how I got into this. I was trying to run a Twitch stream in a virtual machine, and I wanted NVENC encoding. Just like people want to run Plex in a virtual machine and have, transcoding or NVENC encoding, I wanted to do that, but for Twitch and run OBS. And so, yeah, absolutely. You nailed it. You knew exactly what was going on. Xavius, you need an editor to help you. Not volunteering though. I absolutely do. I would love to find one. And I would love to pay them. I would love to find an editor that, understands, my content. They don't have to know what I'm doing or even understand what I'm saying, but just, I guess understand my delivery. But I would love to find an editor. I would love to. And I want to pay for one. I would never expect anyone to do work for free. Absolutely not. I would love to find one that I trust. It would be great if they were, I don't want to say local, but somewhere kind of nearby. United States would be great, but it's not limited to that. So yeah, I would love to. I say it a lot to my wife, and she says it too, because it's tough. Like it's tough. I run out of time. Well, actually, I don't run out of time. I make more time. And when I say I make more time, it means I just don't sleep, and that kind of stinks. But But yeah, I mean, even like last week, I was done with my video a little bit early, and I had Friday and Saturday night. I felt like I had it off because I was done with my video for last week, the hardware tour on Thursday, and I was like, this is what it feels like to have the night off on Friday and Saturday. Friday night really, and it was nice. I just sat in the living room with my wife and watched a movie. It was just like, okay, this is what it feels like. So anyways, long story short, yeah, I would love to find a editor. If you know someone, like, throw them my way. Absolutely. I would love to. And it's as they know, it's tough work. It's a lot of work. I'm not a professional by any means. I've been doing it for a couple years on my own stuff. Like, I'm probably very inefficient. But yeah, I would love to find one at some point. Yeah, if you know someone, like, DM me or send them my way. I would love to. And absolutely, I would pay. I would never expect anyone to do free work for me. So don't think like I'm expecting some kind of discount or something. I know that this work is valued. I know it takes someone who's really skilled, and I would love to pay to have it done. There we go. Anyways, that's my job posting. Blade, hey, how's it going? Good to see you, Blade. Let's see. Because YOLO. Yeah, absolutely. Because YOLO. That's me half the time. Blade, setting up an automated Git deployment of my Obsidian vault to MK2 docksite. Oh, yeah, I like it. So let's break this down. So using Obsidian for your note keeping, which you write in Markdown, then you're, so I assume that's called your vault. And then you're using MK2 docs to convert those to a doc site, and then you're using Git to deploy it probably somewhere to your doc site. Yeah, it sounds awesome. Sounds like a lot what I do. I mean, I do something similar. Like, even my documentation site works very similar to that. Not using Obsidian, but it doesn't matter. I write in Markdown. I push it up. I have CI that tests it to make sure it's all valid, markup and all that. And it can compile, I should say, or basically create markup from the Markdown. And then it will build a container and deploy it to my Kubernetes cluster. Yeah, I love it. I love that stuff. Techno Tim, that is the correct pronunciation. All right, Urban Monkey, I got it right. Usually I'm not that good at this. Level George, hi, can you make videos on CI/CD? Yeah, absolutely, I can. I have an older one on basically what I do now, which is run my GitLab CI/CD in my own environment. So I use GitLab runners. They're actually running in Kubernetes. They can run in Docker. They can run on a virtual machine. They can run anywhere. And they build my code and put it in a container and then update Kubernetes. So yeah, I absolutely. So one, I have something out there, a little bit older, but it's 100% of the same exact dev process I use now. I think if you look for it, I don't know. There's a couple. There's one on GitLab CI/CD that I have, and then there's another one on just like building a React.js site, and that has everything end to end on how you would do it. But I absolutely will have some more stuff coming because there's so much cool stuff out here. Like, I use GitHub Actions too, and I have a video that kind of talks about it a little bit, but I definitely will. Absolutely. Blade. The beatings will continue until morale improves. I love it. My neighbor had a sign that said something similar on his sailboat. It said, the flogging will continue until the crew's morale improves. Oh, it was great. Fireball, wanted to share my struggles, starting with Kates and Rancher, Kubernetes and Rancher. Discord server gave good suggestion for Ansible and Wildcard cert tutorials. Now I'm down a rabbit hole with learning Ansible and so on. All right, Fireball, I like it. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of that playbook, mainly because it removes a huge obstacle from learning Kubernetes. And that's how to install Kubernetes and how to get it working and how to get it HA. Like, a lot of people don't think like, oh, okay, well, I want to learn Kubernetes. The first thing I need to learn is how to install Kubernetes. Like, you need to know that. Well, you don't. You don't really. Because if you think about the cloud or anything like that, like, they're handling a lot of this for you. Even like Rancher is handling a lot of this for you. And so sometimes, to learn Kubernetes, you don't need to know how to install it. Does it help? Sure. Does it help to understand the different components? Yeah, it does. But is it a requirement? I don't think so. And so that's why I created it, was to try to remove another obstacle, which is getting an HA Kubernetes cluster up and running. And so, yeah, I'm glad you like it. It's super fun. Like I said in the video this morning, I run that playbook on my 5 virtual machines all the time, and it's so satisfying to see it run and it test itself and it work every time. It's pretty awesome. I've broken it a few times, I'm not going to lie, and there have been lots of people who've contributed to it too, so it's not just me. Someone contributed a whole entire molecule testing suite to be able to test this in CI, and it like blows my mind. On every GitHub pull request, it actually builds a cluster on a Mac machine that's owned by GitHub and tests the entire cluster and then tears it back down. And it's like, whoa, that is pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome. For me, I was doing very simple tests. Like I was doing it, I don't want to say manually, but I was doing it manual testing, where I'd kick off the playbook and then the playbook would execute, and I'd have a whole bunch of checks, check for this resource, check for this resource. Does it work? Yeah, it does. Do a curl. Does it work? Yeah. But then I had a pull request from Schleiner, I think it's Schleiner, on GitHub, where he just implemented a whole entire molecule testing suite, and it is pretty awesome. Anyways, yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. If there's something you want to contribute to it, or if there's something you see wrong with it, let me know, or open a pull request, or I would say open an issue first, or a discussion, rather than start writing a whole bunch of code, just to make sure, that's where we want to take this project. But yeah, I'm glad you love it. It's super fun. It's super fun. And again, just trying to remove roadblocks from people's path, so that they could try to learn Kubernetes quicker. Urban Monkey, I'm a VMware admin and starting to use Tanzu for our devs. Awesome. I think that's VMware's CI/CD. I think it is. I've seen the name a few times before. Awesome. Twisted Graham, I'm working on new host machines, enjoying B-Link Sur 5 with Proxmox. Longhorn works great on an SSD. Pass to a VM. Awesome. Yeah, I see these B-Link devices a lot. I see them a lot, and I'm like amazed at how cheap they are for what you get. I've seen them on Amazon, and I'm comparing them. Like I said, I have an Intel NUC back there. They were actually just on sale. They were like 30% off for that same model. So I picked up another one and another one. And that was a good price. And then I look at these B-Link devices. I'm like, man, how are they doing this? But yeah, so awesome. I think that Intel NUCs, B-Links, like everything that falls into this, newer platform, but small form factor is awesome. It's fantastic for Kubernetes. It's fantastic for HomeLab. Whether you have 1 or 3, they're great. They're great devices because, they're able to, newer platform, lots of RAM, decent amount of cores, low power, have NVMe usually. If not, they can support 1 or 2 SSDs. So it's pretty awesome how much they pack into there. And Longhorn, Longhorn SSD is mandatory. All my Longhorn, my Kubernetes storage, all SSD. I mean, my whole entire everything I have is on SSD, except for TrueNAS, my huge data pool, which I would love for that to be all flash at some point, but it's expensive. G. Deerdorf, hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. 18 Will Ray, how's it going, man? Good to see you. I'm here. Was busy running my Yapper in Discord. I know how that goes. I'm busy running my Yapper right now and not even looking at the time. Mark, Tokyo. Yeah, Tokyo. That's right, Tokyo. You got it right. That is right. It's right. You pronounce it. That's how you pronounce it phonetically. Tokyo. Like a lot of people say Tokyo, but really it's Tokyo. So you got it right. You got it exactly right. Alfie Tross, Techno Tim, have you ever seen any K3S deployments that started up or shut down nodes based on usage? Seems like a good way to be power efficient by only running nodes when required. So I basically, have I ever seen it? I've seen it in the cloud. So this is like auto scaling, right? Auto provisioning, auto scaling. So I have seen it in the cloud so for work in Kubernetes, we do that. So we will scale up we'll do a horizontal pod auto scaling, which will scale up the pods. And then we have resource limits too to say, okay, and if you run out of RAM or whatever, run out of compute, then you start to scale up virtual machines as well. So yeah, I've seen it. Bare metal, that'd be pretty interesting. You would have to have something that can orchestrate and turn on those bare metal machines. Like, it'd have to be like wake on LAN, wake that machine up. Yeah, I mean, I think like the poor man's way to do it. If I'm just thinking like, okay, let's take the technology out of it. Like, what I would do, and this is not how you should do it, but if I'm just thinking this through, I would have one node that's part of the cluster already. It's already joined. This is not what you want to do, but I'm just thinking like, okay, like, how can I make this work without doing it for real? You could have one or two nodes just shut off all the time that are part of the cluster, and they're not going to take any workloads. Then you would just query Kubernetes and say, hey, like, how are your resources doing? How are your resources doing? And if they're low, you just send a wake on LAN to wake one up. That wakes up, and that just starts taking pods, and Kubernetes just starts doing the Kubernetes thing. And then you could horizontally scale those pods if you needed. So say you had, one pod and it was getting, it was just getting hammered. Then you could spread that out across multiple pods. And because you don't have any resources left on those existing nodes, those pods would just get scheduled on that node. It's absolutely not the way you want to do it. You want to have something orchestrate this for you. But I'm thinking like, what would be the manual way? And I guess that's like the logical way of how I would do it, but not the way I would write the code on how to do it. But yeah, I'm sure there's a way to orchestrate it. I'm sure with probably OpenStack or something that's able to know about Kubernetes, and something that's also able to know about your infrastructure or your hypervisor or your resources, right? So it has to be at the super level that could see them both. It has to be something that's probably hyper-converged that understands them both. So I immediately think OpenStack or stuff like that, VMware, whatever. But pretty awesome enterprise stuff, or just the cloud, right? Like I said, and Azure, AWS, GCP, they all have stuff like this where you can scale up. You can vertically scale your nodes, or you can horizontally scale your nodes on demand, right? And then you have your Kubernetes auto scale pods on demand based on some threshold. But yeah, it would be awesome at home. I'll add that to my list of other things. And I don't mean that like facetiously. Like, I've been thinking about, some stuff I could do, more automation, like I said, prior to Kubernetes. And I think this kind of fits in. I like it for sure. Yeah, thanks. I love it when you guys throw stuff out here like this, like even if it sounds crazy or anything like that, because it like helps me think through different things for the future, but also helps me think through like, oh, how would I implement it myself, which gives me ideas. So then when I go to do other things, I can be like, oh yeah, remember that? Oh yeah, remember that thing Alfie Tross said? Oh yeah, I can try that here. So thank you, appreciate it. Redo Strike, praise the mods. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Hovas. Hovhas. I'm going with Hovhas. I like it. Happy New Year from Sweden. All right. Happy New Year from the United States. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's getting close there. I don't know if it's New Year in Sweden. It's really close. I think it might be midnight there right now. Mark, what camera do I use? This is an A6400. Yeah, I've been using it for a while. A6400, it's been great. I've been considering upgrading to a full frame. This is a crop frame for people who are photography nerds. I'm not. I mean, I know enough about them, but crop frame, A6400, wide angle lens. It's all on my kit. So if you do exclamation point gear, you'll find it. You'll find the kit with this. But been using it for a while. I'm super happy. I couldn't be happier. Yes, it does overheat every now and then, but that's my own fault. It's because I have my monitor along with other hardware right below it. And so that's just dissipating heat right up into the camera. And it never overheats any time else. It's like I'm adding heat to something that's already hot. So, but yeah, I'm super happy with it. So Urban Monkey, I want to virtualize OpenSense in my vSphere cluster. Yeah, you should be able to for sure. Joey Locky, close enough. Geek Random, Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Obsidian View, Ansible against Proxmox works well for ISC. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, absolutely it does too. Terraform does too. I hear it's the provider isn't the greatest, but it should work. But Ansible, yeah, absolutely does, because if you know the commands and how to do it, with Proxmox, all the commands you can do from the CLI, you could do it. From Ansible too. I want Terraform modules that will buy me hardware, a true from nothing. Yeah, I know. Don't we all? Yeah, infrastructure is code. Maybe someday we will be able to use Terraform with a printer that can print machines, machinery. So then we could just do a Terraform up, or I'm not Terraform up, but we could use our Terraform commands or TF commands and have it create hardware for us. And then, we'll totally have it from nothing for sure. Mark, I had a problem with 2 gigabit per second ISP line and their ONT router with 1 gigabit port solved it by laying down 2 1 gigabit cables to pfSense and enabling dual WAN load balancer, but I'm not sure how to test utilization correctly. Would you happen to have any advice? How to test utilization? I mean, so you just want to make sure you're getting 2 gigabit, right? I mean, speed test or find someone who can actually push 2 gigabits per second. That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Or if you know someone at the other end, you could do a point-to-point speed test who also has maybe 2 gigabit up. That one's tough. I mean, the only people I've ever been able to see that can push that kind of bandwidth are, it's going to be an Amazon, Microsoft, Google, or something from Linux. I mean, or Steam, or a Steam collection or Blizzard or something like that, Activision, because they're the ones that have all the bandwidth. That's tough. That's tough to be able to find someone who can upload at 2 gigabits per second. I mean, my test is always I'm going to go download the Windows 8 ISO. That's how I really test a speed test, because I know Microsoft, near unlimited resources, near unlimited bandwidth, and they want you to have Windows 10 ISO, or Windows 11 ISO. So that's usually my test. There's always fast.com, for the edge test with Netflix. I don't know if they can push that fast, but my real world test is download the Microsoft ISO for Windows 10 or 11. I don't know what it is now. And there's a trick to it too. There's a trick, because if you go there on a Windows machine, it'll say hey, download this tool to then download the ISO. But there's a trick, you can trick it because on Linux, that executable won't work. Hey, Bill Nash, resub, tier 1, 12 months, sub nerds. Yeah, 1 year, man. 1 year. Thanks, Bill Nash. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. But my trick is to open the Chrome Dev Tools and say that you're an Android device, and then go to the Windows website, and then they'll think, you're on Linux, so there's no way you can run an executable, so we won't try to give you the media creation tool. We'll just give you a link directly to the ISO. So anyways, that's my life hack on how to get the ISO from Microsoft without doing the media creation tool. Oh man, so it is well over time. I apologize, but I do have to kind of wrap it up. There's so much conversation. I do apologize. I do have to wrap it up. Because I'm way over. So hey. Hey, I just want to take this time really quick to say thank you to everyone. I know I said this on the video, but I want to say it in person, as much as in person as it can be. But thank you guys so much for this year. This year has been, again, another incredible year for my channel. I mean, I hit 100,000 subs. I think I'm almost at 130 already, and I feel like I just got to 100,000. That plaque back there, that major award, is really because of everyone on here. So thank you so much because of everything. Thank you so much for everything this year. It's been incredible. Hey, Trevor. Thank you so much. Hey, Tim, ever use NSXT? I have not. I have no idea what that is. I learned so much from you, because every time you talk about networking or any kind of utility or hardware, I'm just I have no idea what you're talking about. Tell me more. So I haven't. So I apologize, but thank you so much. Tier 1, 14 months, 9 months streak. Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate it. Link in Discord somewhere. But as I was saying, thank you so much. That back there is because of everyone, you know, all you guys. So I greatly appreciate it. This year's been awesome. I'm super looking forward to 2023. I have so many ideas. I just have to get them out of my head and put them down. Hey, Towley, thank you so much. Wow, 400 bits. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year to you too. And so I hope you guys had a great 2022. I hope it was everything you wanted it to be. I know that, the last couple of years have been kind of crazy for a lot of people around the world. I hope it's been okay. And I hope 2023 brings like everything that I hope all your wildest dreams comes true. Just quoting Napoleon Dynamite. So anyways, I just wanted to take a time to say thank you. Huge thanks to mods. Like mods, if you see them, tell them thank you. Adam, go crazy, blow them up. So, you know, it's Exor, it's Manny, it's iLoot, it's PC Geek. Like, thank you guys so much for modding, you know, Twitch as well as Discord. If you see him, add him and blow him up and tell him thank you. Because, man, they do so much for this channel and they don't ask for anything. They're just like model citizens in the community and they contribute so much. And you know, they're more than mods, they're community members, and just want to say thanks. So anyways, add them everywhere, add them everywhere. Make them, you know, I'll add them too. I'll add them everywhere I can. But I just wanted you guys to know, hey, I greatly appreciate it. I don't know how else to say it, but thank you. Anyways, hey, thank you guys so much. Have a happy new year. It's already 2023 for some of you. For those who it's still 2022, be safe tonight. I don't know, just be safe. Survive until 2023. Yeah, so anyways, I'll be back next week. Hopefully have something out. I do need to take like a mental break from YouTube because I've just been like gun-ho on these last two videos. Take a mental break for a day or two and maybe get something out this week. And then, yeah, I'll be around in Discord always. So man, thank you guys so much. Have a great Happy New Year and be good to each other. Take care, folks.